people misunderstand. They don't understand the origin of the First Amendment and where that right comes from. Now, again, I believe your right to free speech and free association those rights come from
Right.
God. I think they're
Mhm.
they're inalienable rights, but they're enforced by the government. Only the federal government or local government, however you want to say it, only government can enforce the protections of the First Amendment, and government only the government can violate your First Amendment rights. This is so important for people to understand. Your First Amendment rights do not give you the authority or the right to infringe upon someone else's rights. For example, free association, the right to travel. So, i.e., the Golden Gate Bridge was shut down
Mhm.
last week. Your First Amendment rights do not supersede any other articulated rights in the Bill of Rights or any place else in the Constitution. This is so important for people to understand. A private citizen, a private entity cannot violate your free speech rights. If you sign up to be a member of any club or whatever, there are rules and regulations, and if you violate them through, let's just say, whatever words you're using that violate certain rules, you can be kicked out by that private entity. The government has nothing to do with that. Only the government can violate your free speech rights, period. That's it. If someone wants to protest something where I live, they have no right to come on my front lawn or my driveway and block me or my family from leaving our house or entering our house. That's a violation of my property rights. I want people to understand this. Only the government can violate your free speech rights, your First Amendment rights. Number one, to understand. So let me give you an example. We have these, and I'm sorry, they're hoodlums. These are just muckrakers. These students that are impeding the progress. And I say progress, the academic progress of other people around them. They are impeding other people's rights to free associate, to go to and from safely, and a lot of places, a lot of times, intimidate them to not use their own free speech rights. It's not a violation
Mhm.
of law, but it's intimidation. So if you happen to be in, let's say you're visiting your relative at the hospital, they got a broken leg, and you're in a hospital room sitting there talking to them, and all of a sudden you hear someone start screaming and walking down the hallway carrying a flag for whatever cause. You pick the cause, doesn't matter. And they're screaming about this or that, and they want everybody to abide by what they want to do. And you've got to vote this way or support that group or support this cause or, whatever it is, would that be okay? Scream it at the top of their lungs. How about this? In front of the front door of ER, say it's a medical emergency. You want to come in there. Do they have the right to just protest in front of that automatic door in front of ER? Maybe prevent the ambulance from bringing a patient. A patient, huh? Do they? Do they not? Of course not. Of course not. The hospital staff would call law enforcement because these people are actually interfering with the business that they need to do. This is so important to understand. These so-called students have no right. They have no right to engage in behavior that impedes on the rights or the safety of other people in society. Period. Listen, when people want to protest, and happens all the time, often they get permits. Why? Because often they want to use a right of way, a surface street, a highway, whatever it is, other public lands, and they go and apply to the local entity for a permit. And by the way, it's not just true for protests. It can be for parades or for other, for-profit functions, a street fair, things like this. You go get a permit. Why do you have to get a permit? You have to get a permit because your activities are going to impede, obviously, on the ability, let's say in the case of the street, for someone to drive down a route that they want to use. So you get a permit so you can pay for So you have to pay for, say, traffic control, security, maybe for the local government to announce to the public that this street's going to be closed for a few hours on this day. You have to use another route and things like this. That's that is why a permit is required, because your activity would affect somebody else. So your right does not supersede anybody else's right. I want people to understand that.